Hey, welcome back. Unless you're new to the channel, and then welcome to the channel. My name's Lawrence, and this is Full Stack with Lawrence. Welcome to coding tip number 2 of my 26-part OpenEdX coding tips project. This is a collaborative project that's intended to make the OpenEdX application stack more accessible to Python Django developers. And if you are an experienced OpenEdX developer, then please consider collaborating with me on one of these videos. You'll find my contact information in the video description down below. Today, my colleague Clifford Okorie and I are going to show you how to create a custom oAuth backend for a WordPress site. And we'll be using a real-world WordPress site named stepwisemath.ai as our example. To follow along with this coding exercise, you're going to need a few things. First, you'll need a running OpenEdX installation that's version Koa or later. And you'll need shell access to the Ubuntu console for that installation. You'll also need an admin user for access to the Django admin console. And lastly, for OpenEdX, you'll need an OpenEdX plugin as part of the build for that installation. And if you're new to OpenEdX plugins, I've pasted some links to blog articles down below that'll help you get started. And lastly, you'll need admin access to a WordPress site where you're going to configure an oAuth provider. Okay, Clifford, take it away.
Hi, welcome. Let's take a quick look on how to configure WordPress oAuth server in OpenEDS oAuth Backend. You can find the link to the source code for this video in the description below. OpenEDS learning management systems use different methods for authentication and authorization. The internally built authentication and authorization systems from the OpenEDS developers and the third parties oAuth providers like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Apple. With this, you can use the oAuth providers and the internally built authentication and authorization systems from the OpenEDS developers separately or together in your OpenEDS learning management systems for authentication and authorization purposes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure WordPress oAuth server in OpenEDS oAuth Backend using this Python package. Firstly, let's install the EDS oAuth WordPress backend package. You can do this using the command pip install edx oAuth WordPress backend, or add this package in your project's requirements.txt file. Next is to configure the WP oAuth plugin provider in your WordPress site. You need to install and activate the plugin provider. After that, go to your WordPress site admin dashboard. Select the WP oAuth plugin provider. You will need to create a client ID and a client secret credential. Save these credentials somewhere because you will need them in the future of this video. Change the enable require third-party auth variable value to true. Create a WordPress oAuth backend base URL variable and add your WordPress site URL as the value. Create a WordPress oAuth backend client ID variable and add the saved client ID credential created initially as the value. Create a WordPress oAuth backend client secret variable and add the saved client secret credential created initially as the value. The next step is for you to subclass WordPress OpenEDS oAuth class and configure it for your WordPress oAuth provider. So let's import WordPress OpenEDS oAuth class, then create a Python class that subclasses it. To use your WordPress oAuth in the Django learning management system, create a new oAuth configuration by declaring a variable name. You should find this name included in the backend dropdown of the Django admin page, listed as the name you've given to the variable. To set up oAuth endpoints authorization on your WordPress site URL, create the following variables. For base URL variables, use your WordPress site URL as the value. For path variable, use wp-json /more server / as the value. For authentication endpoint variable, use authorized as the value. Just a little hint about the authorization endpoints. The authorization framework is a protocol that allows a user to grant a third-party website or application access to users' protected resources without necessarily revealing their long-term credential or even their identity. For token endpoint variable, use token as the value. The client uses the access token to access the protected resources hosted by the resource server. For user info endpoint variable, use resource. This is used to get the user's info. The final step is to configure a new oAuth client from the Learning Management System Django admin console. Go to your admin. For example, your local development environment should be similar to this link, and make the following changes. Tick the enabled box. In the name field, you can add your WordPress site name. The slug field value should be set as default. The site field value, use web.yourwordpress.com. Tick the following boxes. Lastly, add your client ID and client secret credential you created and saved initially.
All right, thanks Clifford. That was awesome. All right, I hope you found that helpful. And if you did, consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video because that really helps. Either way, hope to see you in the next video.